afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are recording the 48th session of seminar. It's also going to be the last. This will be 4 years now that I've been meeting with groups such as this on a monthly basis to answer questions on psychology and philosophy and related subjects. And I, as well as the people at Academic Associates, felt that we had reached a point where we had gone as far as we could go with this particular format. We'd like to try to do some new projects in the future, recording projects of a different kind, which will be announced subsequently. So today is kind of an interesting day for me because it's the very last seminar recording that we're all going to be doing here together this afternoon. I might say only this much about future ideas. In future, what I want to do is to take some particular subject that I think would be interesting and get a group with enough good questions to perhaps do 3 records on one subject and really pursue it in depth, pursue it exhaustively, and then release that record set when it's ready and available to academic associate customers, rather than pursue a monthly program of questions that may be very interesting but that have no necessary internal unity, but rather that tend to wander all over the place. As I said, I feel that I've gone about as far as I can go with this format, and I'm at a point where, speaking quite personally and selfishly, I'd simply like to go on and try something new and different now. So, with that introduction, let's get right down to business and ask for the first question.
What is common sense in your understanding, specifically as distinguished from reason and or from logic?
Well, you know, common sense has had different meanings from time to time. Unfortunately, I can't immediately remember the original historical derivation of the term, but I'll tell you 1 or 2 of the meanings, and I will certainly tell you how I understand the term. Some people regard as common sense whatever most people agree with at a given point in history, so that what can seem like common sense to a certain group at one point in history can seem like absolute irrational madness to other people at a later point in history. For example, there was a time when it was surely common sense that the earth was flat. You could see that it's flat, can't you? There was a time when it was surely common sense that the sun revolves around the earth. So, from one point of view, common sense means whatever most people believe in a given culture at a given time. Widely disseminated, widely accepted beliefs. And as such, the term really doesn't have much philosophical meaning at all. However, there is another usage of the term, a bit more interesting perhaps, and that refers to knowledge that is A, really knowledge, meaning true, not just belief, and B, relatively easily accessible to the human understanding without great complex feats of reasoning or scientific investigation. If, for example, your house burns down and your friend says, "Come on, we've got to start building again. Wishes won't put up a new house," you could call that the kind of common sense that even a very uneducated and ignorant man can appreciate. So sometimes common sense has this meaning of actual facts of reality fairly easily available to the human understanding without special researches or without complex abstract feats of reason. It pertains to beliefs, whereas reason or logic, reason refers either to a faculty, the power of reason, or to a process, the process of making conceptual integrations. Logic, in terms, is a tool that reason operates with, neither reason nor logic properly understood inherently designate beliefs. They more pertain to a method, to a process, or to criteria. So there's that difference between them. Yes, let's move on. Next question.
In your opinion, what should be the fundamental purpose of a rational penal system?
The fundamental purpose of a rational penal system. I think we should take one step back and speak of the rational purpose of punishment. And I would say that it is the following. In a society in which we have laws, in which we say, you may do this and you may not do this, laws need to be enforced by some kinds of sanctions in situations where people might be expected to have strong temptations to act against the law. Merely to lay out a code of rules where nothing negative happens to you if you don't respect them is not too practical if it pertains to types of activities that many people may be tempted to engage in, such as stealing. So, if you are going to have laws, you have to have a system in which people who break the laws, and we will hope that they are good, sound, sane laws and not irrational laws, suffer undesired consequences, painful consequences. So that the purpose really is to establish the objectivity of the principle socially, that a person cannot break laws, say cannot violate the rights of other human beings with impunity. That he's living in a society where, if he violates the rights of others, and assuming he is apprehended, undesired to him consequences will follow, painful consequences will follow, which do not follow for those who respect laws, who, let us say, respect the rights of others. And I think that the primary purpose of punishment is not revenge, is not rehabilitation, but is to give social objectivity to the principle that if you choose to live among men, you must learn to respect their rights, and that should you choose not to, you will suffer painful consequences. Now, beyond that, there's everything to criticize in the kind of penal systems we have had, for the very simple reason that it's a notorious fact that the chief contribution of penal systems to our society is to manufacture more efficient criminals. I think, therefore, that one of the most important tasks that awaits our society is the reconceiving of the whole nature of what goes on in prisons, or what should go on, so that prisons are more than simply schools for crime, schools for becoming more efficient at the activity of crime, which is what most of them are today. A lot of people are getting interested in the whole subject of the penal system. It's appalling in this country. It's appalling in almost every country. I think it's a very important issue, and I wish that we could talk about this at length sometime, not that I know that much about it, but because I believe that one index of the civilization of a civilization, of the value of a society, lies in how lawbreakers are treated. The worse they are treated, the lower the society on the scale of civilization. I believe that as we progress, as we evolve socially, if we evolve in a positive direction, we have to devise a means to keep whatever the values are of a penal system, but not have the kind of penal systems that brutalize men and turn them into savages. I think they are places where they may have their first encounter socially with rationality, with the concept of human beings receiving and demanding and expecting respect, and with human dignity being acknowledged. That may sound very strange to speak of such concepts in terms of jails, but in point of fact, many people who go to jail have never had any experiences of those kinds. And I personally am of the belief that you can learn a lot about the society by knowing what happens in its prisons. And while I believe in the concept of punishment,